Hello again. It's time to come back with another foreign coin video. This is video number 5 in a series of coins that I bought from one of my favorite dealers, Ken. And in this particular series, it's when I spent $100 at his booth. The final 4 videos of the series are going to be carded coins. The first 2 were from a 5 for $1 bin. So the bag on the screen is video number 6. Instead, we're going to look at the coins in this video today. Let's get my setup here. We'll get these coins out of the bag. And so Ken actually put them into bags, and then I went through and I sorted them by price. So I didn't swap out what was in the bag, but I thought each bag would make a convenient each bag would make one convenient video just to separate it like that. So one thing I also did in the last video, he knew exactly what he had. He prices everything exactly by book value. And so what I've decided to do is, instead of say how much compared to the book price these are, it's about the same, although there were a couple of surprises that he priced below book. And it could be because sometimes I think he's a little bit too generous of a grader. And so instead I decided to compare what I paid for the lot, or at least what price was written on here, versus what the Numista crowdsourced price of the same coin would be. So I did this in the last video, and then I forgot to actually say it. I went back and I added it to the comments, I hope. But in that last video, the price written on the card, if you added up the whole stack, would have come to $23, and the Numista value is $37. Keep in mind that everything I bought at the table, he gave me a 10% discount on top of that. So instead of paying $23, it didn't take $230 off of that. So now that I've got that out of the way, this is the next video, and we're going to start. This is just something he threw in for free. He had a stack of Mardi Gras doubloons that he said, "Did I give you one last time?" And I said, "No, you didn't." And he said, "Okay, here you go. Here's one for free." So just throwing in some free stuff. Not really my thing, but in case you wanted to see Dionysus and his retinue from 2009. That's what we have. Okay, so as we jump in here to the first real foreign coin, we've got one from Ecuador. So this coin is from 1937. KM 77.1. I wrote down that this one's made out of nickel. That's why it's a 1-year coin. It's going to have an HF mint mark on the other side, which is actually worn off and you can't see it. If it was there, it would be above the number 20, kind of about right here. So that's not a mountain right there, that's just an empty spot. So this one wasn't in good shape, but HF in this case would have been, and I'm probably mispronouncing it, Huguenen in Switzerland. And there are also different versions of this coin made out of brass, copper nickel, and nickel-plated steel. But it was nickel only for 1 year. Next we move to El Salvador. This one's from 1985. It's a 10 centavos. KM 130A. This one has a Mexico City mint mark right there under the V in centavos. And so this coin was only made for 2 years. In 1985, it was made from Mexico City, where they added a little bit of zinc to the copper nickel mix, and that gives it the mint mark, the KM number of 130A. But 130 was made in 1950 in San Francisco, without zinc, when it was just copper nickel. So kind of an interesting that there are probably other designs of this coin made for years in between there, but I thought that was interesting. Anytime I can get a carded coin for 5 cents, I think that makes a good addition to something I'm going to put in one of my sell and trade piles. So this is going to be from South Korea. It's a pretty inexpensive coin. It's a 1 won coin from 1988. KM31. It is the Rose of Sharon on this aluminum coin. This next coin was a 1-year commemorative for the Dominican Republic, and so it's got extra words around the whole coin here. Centenario de la okay, the translation is Centennial of the Restoration of the Republic. And so I believe everything on the obverse was a little bit larger on the other years they made this coin. But they made a, pretty much just like American coins, a 1, 5, 10, 25, a half, and a full peso in this series, all for 1 year. So that one is KM25, and that's 1963. The next coin is also from Dominican Republic. This one is a 10 centavos from 1987. Featuring Dominican's founding father, Juan Pablo Duarte. This particular coin, it doesn't have a mint mark, but it was made at the Royal Canadian Mint in Winnipeg. This next coin is from Uruguay, and it features an interesting variation on the 1 peso Uruguayo. And I had the other variation in a video or two ago. And that variation, so this is 103.1, and so the back of the portrait here points to the letter U. In the other variation, it points further down to the letter P. And so that deals with the where the mint was for this one. So it's not signed, but the mint on this coin is VA Buenos Aires. $1994. So you can tell also by the year, so you don't have to know the look for that variation. We'll move to a coin from Egypt featuring the 3 pyramids of Giza. So a lot of these Egyptian coins are really good for, I know several people who are interested in Egyptian symbolism who are otherwise not interested in coins and would find some of these Egyptian coins pretty interesting that they've done over the years, such as the Sphinx or the here are the pyramids, seen Cleopatra. So they make some pretty interesting coins. But this one is the 1 piastre. I thought it was interesting that he wrote the millim on here. And there's also 2 versions of this coin. This is 553.2. And it has to do with the date. So there is going to be an Arabic date and our calendar, which is the Gregorian calendar. So their calendar is 1404. Our calendar is 1984. And so the pretty much the variations is the 2 sides are swapped. So this is the second version with the 1984 on this side. 0.1 version has 1984 on the left. This next coin comes from South Africa, and it comes from a time for almost 2 decades where they would celebrate the ending of a presidential term by putting the president's portrait on the coin, all their circulating coins. This is President Balthazar Johannes Vorster, the end of his term in 1982. KM 109, this is just the 1 cent coin. So otherwise, it would have had all the other years, they have the coat of arms with the 2 different languages English and with South Africa written in English and Afrikaans. Next coin is from Western Samoa, and I think the previous video I had the one scene coin in here, and so all of these come from the first set of coins after Western Samoa was its own independent country. I think they were previously ruled by the British, and so this features their first king or chief, and I believe Malitoa is their word for chief or king. And so his name is Tanumafili II. And then on the back, it has the year of 1967, 5 between the letters of scene, and then the stars, which I think they call the Samoan Cross or the Southern Cross. And so I had the one scene in a previous video. And a couple others from this series are coming up. So that one's KM3. Next we move to Brazil. KM561. This one's from 1953 at 10 centavos. Featuring Jose Bonifacio. On the 10 centavos. We're going to move to Iceland. And this is the 50 Aurer. And it has a dragon on here named Dreki the Dragon. And a lot of their higher denomination coins, where the coin is bigger, will have kind of 4 different scenes on them, with Dreki the Dragon as one of them. So on those coins, it's the 4 traditional protector spirits of Iceland. So this one, since it's a smaller coin, just features the one, and they're featuring the dragon. But it's from 1981, and also at a time where they feature ocean wildlife, and we have a shrimp. Next we have a coin from Colombia with their liberator, Simón Bolívar, 1979. It's a 25 centavos, KM267. It's a design that didn't last too long, but it has just the number 25 and essentially several rings going around the number on here. That one was KM267. We have another one now from Samoa. Almost everything about this coin is going to be similar to the last one, but it's obviously a different metal. This one's KM2. It's the 2 scene. So the design is pretty much identical to the last one. We'll move on to Cyprus, one of the harder Euro countries to come up with. And so I got this one because I didn't have it, even though the color has kind of corroded on here. But this coin features the mouflon wild sheep of Cyprus. The 2008 on the 2 euro cent. We'll go to Macedonia on a coin that features the sheepdog. One thing I haven't seen is not too long ago, Macedonia officially changed the name of the country to North Macedonia, because people from Greece were upset with the fact that they were called Macedonia. I don't know if they have changed their coins in any way since then. If you know, please let me know. But it is something I've been looking out for, but I just haven't found any coins that new. This one's from 2006. When I was growing up, this was part of Yugoslavia, so it's a relatively new country. Their currency is the dinar. We'll move to a coin from Canada. Looks fairly similar to most Canadian coins from about this time, except it has two dates on it. It has 2002, but above that it has 1952. And that is to commemorate the 50th anniversary of the reign of Queen Elizabeth at that point. It also has a P next to that, but that's not a mint mark. That just means that the metal content is plated. KM 447. He wrote the word boggy on here. Since it's under the AU 55, I'm guessing that's something to do with condition, but I'm not sure what he meant. And then this side's pretty fairly standard compared to most 10-cent coins, featuring the blue nose sailboat. Our third Western Samoa coin from in this video. A lot like the others, but larger. This one's the 10 scene. All of them are from 1967, so it's KM4. However, this one, since it's a larger design, it was able to fit more on the back of the coin. So it still has the star pattern element to the coin, but it's on the shield, featuring waves and I guess a palm tree at the top. Compared to some other Euro countries, Belgium Euro coins have some subtle design changes to look out for. And so the first thing is the placement of the Albert II monogram. Up until 2008, this A monogram was on the outside of the ring, and then apparently the Euro Design Commission told them it would be better off if you put it inside the ring, and they started doing that in 2009. But also 2010, they have a mint mark, which is the little circular thing to the left of 2010. And then they have a mint master, or actually in this case, it's the coin commissioner privy mark right there, which appears to be a feather. And so that changes up over time. The Brussels mint mark's probably not going to change, but the coin commissioner does change over time. KM 296, another 2 euro cent. Isle of Man is controlled by the British, and their coins are essentially identical in denomination and size. And so this was a coin design that they used featuring a windsurfer. It is a 5 pence coin, and when the British 5 pence changed to a reduced size, so did the one in Isle of Man. So this is the 0.2 reduced size, KM 209.2 because of the reduced size. Isle of Man also has die marks, and I think this particular year of, where's my year? 1993 is the only offers it in the AA die mark. Also has the words across the top here. It looks like you had pronounced it Ellen Vannon, but I believe that's how you pronounce Isle of Man in the Gallic language that's native there. Something interesting I thought of this flip is, so I paid 60 cents for it. There you can see 40 cents is on there and scratched off. So he bought it from someone else and scratched off that price and then raised the price on it. I thought that was funny. And not only that, the dealer he bought this from is another of my favorite dealers. So the two favorite dealers that I see at several shows in Middle to West Tennessee, this flip has passed through both of them. So as we look at the portrait of Queen Elizabeth on this side, there is a Pobjoy mint right there underneath, right under the portrait. And then these Isle of Man coins have the three-legged Triskaidek, whatever you call their little symbol on here. So there I see 4 of them on this side, and with kind of a motto of wherever you throw it, it will stand, because it has legs facing all directions. This next coin is from Sierra Leone. He noted on here that it's a proof like 60 condition. And so I can sort of see that on here, where you've got the kind of frosted appearance to it, and then in addition to that, you've got almost a mirror-like surface, perhaps. However, this coin was never actually minted as a proof-like, so somehow along the ways, this was produced in a really good condition, has surface scratches all over the place, but it hasn't lost its frosted or shine as much as it could have. So I think that's neat. So it's KM44. There's two fish surrounding the denomination of 10 leones here. They're called bongo fish. I'd never heard of them until I was looking up this coin. Flip this one over, and it features local or Sierra Leone leader from over a century ago by the name of Mammy Yoko. Then it has the denomination again. So KM44. This is my, here's another flip where he bought it from someone else. I don't recognize the handwriting on this one. But this is probably my fourth coin from Tajikistan, former Soviet country. The denomination here is the 10 dirham. And I don't know why every Tajikistan coin that I have come up with all looks like they've been sitting in a fountain for about 5 years. Something about it, I don't know. This one's not as bad as a lot of the others I've found, but they're just incredibly well worn in such a way that I don't see in other coins. But this one's still in pretty good shape. I'm happy to have it for 50 cents. And did I get the KM of 24 on there? Our next coin is going to be from Fiji. It's a one-year commemorative from 1979, KM 44. This side's pretty normal. The difference is this side here, and there's several things going on. First of all, it's an FAO coin. So it features sugar cane in the middle of the coin, around 50 cents, and then it says sugar for the world. But then it also has dates of 1879 and 1979 at the top, which is, had to look that up. That relates to the centennial of the first time that laborers from India were brought to Fiji. It's the first time I'd heard of that story. That sounds like a very loaded discussion topic that I probably don't want to get into here, but it also features the word gurmit, which is apparently in the local language the word for agreement, or at least that's a loose translation of that. So a lot going on with this Fiji commemorative coin, so I really like that one. Next we have a coin from the year 1900 from Portugal. While Carlos I is still the King of Portugal, KM 546. It's going to be a 100 race. So I had this coin, but this one is in better condition. So I am not opposed to buying old and damaged coins if I can get them at a good price. And one of the things I like about hold coins is it just kills the value of a coin. But if you can find one where the rest of the details on it are quite nice, maybe I'll get this coin someday in a good condition. But you can see there was a hole there right on the top of the crown of King George that was filled in. So he says this would have been extra fine condition without the hole, but I paid $1.25 for it. And the kind of hard to price something like this on Numista because they are not going to come up with every damage scenario on it. And so I wrote down that the Numista price is going to be $2.60 on this, but if it was an actual extra fine coin, we're looking at closer to $10. So let's get to the actual coin itself. It's from southern Rhodesia, From 1947, it's a half a crown, KM 156. So the Southern Rhodesia shield here with the crown on top of it. And of course it has George VI. I guess you'd call that a monogram right there. And one of the things I found about this coin, there's essentially 4 different versions of it. The when I said it was KM, that's not a 156. I now say in my notes that's 15B. So the original version of this coin was made out of sterling silver. And then for a couple of years before this coin was made, it was made of 50% silver. But by 1947, they stopped using silver. So I think that makes this a 1-year coin where it's made out of copper nickel as version 15B. And then the coin changed in 1958 because since British no longer ruled over India, they took the word emperor off the coin. And so they redesigned the words on here again, but they didn't use, they gave it a new number instead of 15 on that coin. We're going to move to a coin from Uganda. So I guess any World Coin video is going to talk about all these coins which were once controlled by the British, and this is no exception. This one is when Uganda first started making, when it was no longer under the control of Britain, but they still made coins with a denomination that the British used. So this was a 5 shilling. Now in Britain, a 5 shilling is going to be a crown. So this one seems to be a little bit smaller than a British crown, I guess. But this one's also incredibly well worn. I only paid $1 for it, but it's KM7. And then on this side, it has a cow and a calf on here. And so we've got another FAO coin. It says produce more food at the top of the coin, and then has a date of, I guess that's 16th of October, 1968. Is it 68? Yeah, 1968. And I also think it's interesting, it says FAO coin plan. And so I found that interesting because that's the... of course, there is an FAO coin plan because so many countries made coins with the FAO produce more food elements to them. This is the only one I've seen that actually said coin plan on it. And so it's also one of the earlier coins that was made as part of an FAO design. So most of them I find in the 70s, but so I guess this is one of the earlier FAO coins. KM7. Next coin is going to be from Rwanda. This comes from a time where I find the 1 and the 2 franc aluminum coins very often. But I don't find the 10, this is my first time to ever find the 10 franc. 1974, it's KM 14.1 because it is a reduced size. And so that features a coffee tree branch. I might struggle a little bit with a very fine condition on this. I'll let you judge if you think that's reasonable or not. This side does remind me of the 1 and 2 franc coins. And so maybe this side's in better shape than the other side, I guess. And so I'm wrong. This was the original size. The reduced size happened in 1985. So up until this point is 14.1. We have another circulating commemorative coin. This one's from Australia. This side looks pretty much like you would see on a coin from Australia that's a 50-cent coin. Flip it over and it has similar design elements to what you've probably seen before, but definitely redesigned. So usually this coin's going to have a much larger kangaroo, much larger emu, and shield in the middle on the back. But they've shrunk them. They have the banner with the word Australia right here. All this floralness behind it. There's a star. I think that star appears on the original coin. And then the size of the number 50's quite large on here. So this is made in commission, or in part of the Australia's centennial. And so there are two versions of this coin. It says it's, on this side it said it was KM 491.1. So there is another version of this coin which was colorized by the mint, so that's the 0.2 version. But there were multiple ways of getting this coin. I believe this one was released in circulation, but there were also versions of this coin that were in centennial mint sets. So you look on Numista, there's several different pictures of sets where this was available. There was one set where it featured this coin and a commemorative 20-cent coin, one for each state or province of Australia. So there were different mint sets you could use to also purchase this coin, but this one was the circulating version. This next coin is from the Chinese province of Szechuan, and so it looks a lot different than most of the Chinese provincial coins that I'll see, especially from around this time. And so this one almost reminds me of the rotary phone dollar coin that was produced in the United States 2 or 3 years ago with all those circles around it. We flip it over. I mean, it has obviously some Chinese elements to it that you would see in other coins, but it still has a very different look. So it doesn't have like the dragon surrounding a pearl or anything like that. So the big difference here was this was made after China went from being an empire to a province. This is another coin that is holed to reduce the value, but otherwise is in decent shape. There is my catalog has 4 versions of this coin. This one has a rosette here and a second rosette, which is where the hole is, but another version has a third rosette, which would be in this empty space right here. The other versions are what metal it's made out of, copper, nickel, or in this case, actually just copper or brass. And so both the 2 and the 3 rosette versions are made with brass or copper. So that makes this one 448A. The seller here had originally put 448.1A, which is the version with the third rosette on it. So I believe this side's going to be up. So the text on here says, made by the Provincial Army. And this is one of those where, again, looking on Numista, how do you value something like this? This coin is pretty obscure, which is why I was definitely going to pay $4 for it. I've never seen anything like this before. According to the crowdsourcing on Numista, there was only one version of this coin that anyone had, and it was in, obviously not hold, but it was in extra fine condition. They said it was worth $25. So how do you come up with a price from that? And I just wrote down that it's $3. I don't know, and I kind of based that based on yeah, I mean, I just took it out of the catalog, took the fine price, cut it in half on here. So there you go with that coin from China. That leaves us with one last coin here. It is going to be the most expensive coin in the video, of course, since I saved it for last, because it's silver from the 1800s. This is when Nicaragua made 80% silver coins, so we've got about 1/8 of an ounce on here. So it's 1887, that's H, going to be a Heaton mint mark. And so it has the date of the independence for them, 15th of September, 1821. Has some design elements that were similar to seeing with the mountains on here. We've got the cap, sun and rays behind it, all of that in a triangle. We flip this one over and it says 20 cents, 1887, and I pointed out the heat and mint mark there at the very bottom. So like the very fine condition. Usually I wouldn't find that on something like this. But this is a 1-year silver coin. So if we add up the price on everything that was on here, and I forgot to do this on my last video, kind of give you a summary. The sticker price on all of these was $24. So since I got 10% off, you could take another $2.40 off of that for what I paid. But if you look up the Numista price on all these coins individually, that comes to $40. They said this last coin was worth $11. Maybe it's because silver has gone up about $6 an ounce since the time between I bought this video and recorded this video early in 2024. But I've got 1/4 video in this series, which is coming up. All right. Thanks for watching. Bye.